Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zongkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dukden Taji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Kalachakra Buddha. Sumu, Duden Siddhi, Rinpoche, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and spiritual centers, all disciples present here and over the internet, and our VIPs today are the head of the civic service of Nantou County, Mr. Lin, the council of the Nantou County, Mr. Tsai, Law Advisor to Buddha Foundation, Mr. Lu Wenxiang, and the former Chief Secretary of the Taiwan government, Mr. Zheng Peifu and Mrs. Zheng, and from the Legislative Yuan, the rep to the head, the Secretary Tsai, Buddha School Scholars Group and Medical Group members, the Datuk from Malaysia, Mr. Kenneth Loy and the Latin, Ms. Zheng Meeting and their daughter, Ms. Li Qian. The General Manager of the Jingyi Enterprise, Ms. Zhang Yizhen. A wood sculptor, Mr. Jian.
My university same classmate, Zhu Jinshui 先生及夫人
Mr. Zhu Jinshui and Mrs. The President of the Worldwide Lotus Light Charitable Society and the producers of the Great Perfection Dharma Lamdre and the Sutra Perfect Enlightenment, Master Lian Yue, and the host Master Lian Hai and Miss Pei Jun.
My sister, Lu Shengmei 女士
Miss Lu Shengmei, my sister, Miss Lu Guoying, and her husband. And thank you to Dharma Sister Ge Hui Xian for donation 100,000 NT dollars. And to Dharma Brother Sen Li Ting also for his donation of 100,000 NT dollars. How do you pronounce this character?
一个佛上面旁边就是一个日底下一个立玉那就是沈玉婷师兄这个字我会
My brother 沈玉婷。
好，你好，大家好。
Okay. How are you? Good afternoon. In Cantonese, Taiwanese, Mandarin,
还要再称呼别的吗？越南，哦，越南有来。
And there are people from Vietnam.
Cảm ơn. Cảm ơn. 越南叫甘欧，甘欧。还有这个。
Cam O in Vietnamese. Domo konnichiwa in Japanese.
Selamat siang.
Selamat siang, selamat petang.
Sawadika, kamsamida.
Thai, Korean,
Saudi, 巴西
Portuguese,
西班牙 Hola amigo, te quiero mucho.
Spanish,
这个法国 Mesh 蘑菇
and France.
还有呢？こんにちは。こんにちは。どうも。私は勝彦。うちはシアトル、台湾。
I am Katsuhiko Lu or Sungyen Lu. My home is in Seattle, U.S. and Taichung, Taiwan.
你们提出国家的名字，还有没有念到的？
So any other countries?
马来西亚不是讲斯拉马香，斯拉马
Malaysian, Selamat Petang. Petang.
还有
Selamat siang.
靠呀，我嘛袂记。香港，你好，大家好。
For
吃饭的时候自己来，吃多啲，慢慢行。
when you eat, you just say, "Oh, help yourself. Take your
还
time
有呢，
and eat and drink some wine."
好了，大家好，好。
How do you do,
先
everyone?
跟大家讲一件事情。
First, I would like to announce.
这个师母为什么
Someone asked,
好几次没有来？
how come Simu has not come for several times here?
他的身体
Let me explain.
不能够支撑一个法会坐在这里。
Her body cannot withstand the whole ceremony, seated here from beginning to end.
所以她应该要好好的休养，
So therefore,
好好的这个休息。
she should take it easy and have a rest.
身体，她也是令人担忧。
So her body condition is worrisome.
医学顾问都谈到她的这个身
There
体。
are medical advisors who are talking about her health condition,
都没有办法动。
that all of a sudden, sometimes she cannot move her leg or her hand. She can't even sign.
好好的，就是吃了药以后，她就会
But sometimes she's fine,
一阵子，
especially after taking the medicine. She will
所以她不能够参加一场
hold it for a while.
做到的。
So she's unable to join a ceremony from beginning to
先
end.
跟大家报告。第二点呢，我跟师母回到台湾，
That's
主要也是选举。
So the reason why we came back to Taiwan is to vote, and we voted for Lu Xiuyan. And hoping that she would be able to change the air quality. And yesterday I was riding on a taxi, and the taxi driver was talking about the bad air. And I said, the air is really bad. And then he said, no, it's not just bad, it's horrible. And also the air today is not good. So we had the hopes for the newly elected Taichung mayor, Ms. Lu Xiuyan, that she can change the air quality. You know, only this past 2 years that the air quality had turned really bad. And in the past it was fine. In May 2018, when I returned to Seattle, I was coughing and I was wheezing. And this year we came here to vote for Lu Xiuyan. But yesterday, the taxi driver was cursing as he was driving. And it was not Om Ahom or Lang Yang Kang like the 3-syllable mantras, but the 3-word curses that Taiwanese use. You know what she said? He said, you know, the developed countries around the world have the electric power through nuclear plants. But how about Taiwan? They reverted back to use coals to generate electric power. And I told him, because people are afraid that the nuclear plants become problematic, that would affect the future generations. But the taxi driver said, who knows that the developed countries have paid attention to this, and they know how to handle the nuclear plants or the problems that could be generated by nuclear power. That the researchers have been doing research on it so that it will not generate problem in the future. But I said, what if there's a problem? And then he said, well, if it does, Taiwan is not an exception, because across the street there are many nuclear plants. So if there's a problem with them, then it would affect Taiwan. Like the dead pig from the swine flu, it floated to Taiwan. So being free from nuclear power plants, Taiwan will not be protected from any nuclear problems. So as if he had listened to my talk earlier, that if there are problems happening across the street in China, in the Fujian province, that's very close to Taiwan, and Taiwan would be affected as well. So that's why he was cursing. After listening to him, I felt really upset. And the air quality yesterday was really bad, and also today. So I cannot let Simu suffer here. So this morning I told Simu, if the air quality has not changed for the better in 1 month, I will bring Simu back to Seattle. I will really bring her back to Seattle. And Simu replied, let's wait another 2 weeks, so let's say wait for 6 weeks. After we finish the spring blessing ceremony, which will be completed in 1.5 months. If the air quality has not improved in 6 weeks, that Simu and I have decided to go back to Seattle. So I would like to apologize here. If the air quality in Taiwan stays poor like now, as I have said, I will not come back. So I am really sorry to all my followers in Taiwan, and also for the followers in Southeast Asia and Hong Kong. Really sorry. We don't have this problem in Seattle. And how come in Taiwan we have this problem? Sunshine, air, and water are the 3 crucial elements in lives. Our human lives are very precious. The researcher at the China Pharmaceutical College is also a member of our Troubadour School Scholars Medical Group, that those suffering from lung cancers, lung infections, and also tuberculosis have increased by 20% this past 2 years. So this is what I like to say, that in 6 weeks, if the air quality has not improved, that Simu and I will return to Seattle. Simu is very sensitive to the air quality, and myself too. Because when I returned to Seattle in 2018, I was coughing and suffering from asthma. So that's my apology today. Please forgive me. So the empowerments today will include the precepts and the Vajra Shield, the 9 stages meditation, the basic meaning of Kala Chakra, the Vajrakila practice, the Vajra chain practice, Sun and Moon disk practice. I remember when I performed Kala Chakra ceremony in Indonesia, Kala Chakra and I were facing each other, which meant he appeared right in front of me and face to face with me. And then there were also Vajra chains, lights of the Vajra chains appearing during the ceremony. And it was captured in photos. And the mantra, Om Ha Kamala Valaya Soha. And the mudra, as I formed earlier, and his image, as we all have seen, 4 faces, and there are color chakras with 2 arms, 12 arms, 24 arms, and most have 24 arms. And the legs are stepping on Mahaswara and Mahaswara consort. And the face is blue, up front, red to the right, left to the white, and yellow at the back. And the consort have 3 eyes, and they are in embrace. How it started was that when Sakyamuni Buddha was at the at the place, and he emanated a body to go to the auspicious Miji Pagoda in southern India and transmitted to King Durjaya of Shambhala the Kalachakra Tantra. And afterwards, Kalachakra Tantra became popular in India and then later on went to Tibet. And the 4 schools of Tibetan Tantrayana highly revere Kalachakra. Kalachakra Heruka is also one of the 5 Herukas. And I have transmitted the Kalachakra Tantra in several different pieces. So the Kalachakra precepts, the 7 empowerments of Kalachakra, the Kalachakra Vajrakila, the 9 stages of meditation of Kalachakra, the basic meaning of Kalachakra, and the Kalachakra shield protection practice, the sun and moon disc practice, and the Kalachakra Vajra chain practice. I have transmitted them all. I also talked about the Vajra chains. So when in your samadhi and you see the prajna lights, the circle prajna lights, once you're in meditative stability, all the prajna lights would be connected to become the Vajra chains. And when Vajra chains become more and more, then they would become Vajra screen, like the screen of a monitor. And then in the screen, there would be Buddhas appearing in half bodies, which gradually become Buddhas in full bodies. And at this time, a practitioner would be able to see the image of a Buddha. And your inner self, with the opening of the 5 chakras, you would also be able to see your own image of a Buddha. And the image of the Buddha outside is called the outer wheel. And the image of the Buddha that appeared inside your body is called the inner wheel. And when the inner wheel merges with the outer wheel, then that would be called the special will. And the special will means the attainment or the fruition, the ultimate attainment. So the image of the Buddha inside you, the inner will, merge with the image of the Buddha outside, the outer will. The merging of these two is the special will, and that would be the greatest attainment. So when the inner will merge with the outer will and transform to become the special will, that's the attainment. So that's the simple description of it. And the Kalachakra Dharma practice have been transmitted in many countries. And now let's talk about the lineage for Kalachakra Tantra. Master Thubten Dorje give me the lineage for Kalachakra. And the first one is Kanjura Kutuku from Mongolia, the living Buddha from Mongolia, who transmitted to Thubten Nyima. And Thubten Nyima was from the Qing dynasty, and also the beginning of the Republic of China. So Thubten Nyima was compiling the Buddhist chronicles. And Thubten Nyima transmitted to Thubten Dali, who transmitted to Thubten Dorje, who transmitted to living Buddha Lien Tsang, Seng Yen Lu, Grandmaster Seng Yen Lu, the Dharma King. So that was one lineage. Kanchu living Buddha is Kanchura, who was a living Buddha from Mongolia. And the greatest living Buddha in Mongolia was called the Jutsun Dampa Kutuku. And next is the Kanjura Kutuku and Tsangkya Kutuku. So our Kalachakra Tantra was transmitted through the Kanjura Kutuku, and the second lineage was through Panchen Lama IX. On his way from Beijing to Tibet, at the place in Gansu province called Yisu. So that a place meaning jade tree, actually in the Qinghai province, not Gansu. So the Dzong Rinpoche was there in Qinghai, attended the Kalachakra Dharma transmission ceremony by the 9th Panchen Lama. Dzong Rinpoche transmitted the lineage to living Buddha Lien Tsang, the Grandmaster Seng Yen Lu. So that was the highest lineage in Tibet, the ninth Panchen Lama. And the third lineage was the secret lineage through serene meditation. When the Dharma King lived in Buddha Lian Sheng, Grandmaster Seng Yen Lu entered into the most profound serene samadhi, he received the lineage from the universal Kala Chakra, and the transmission was the direct, serene, and most profound and highly secret lineage transmission. There was a photo that was very special when I was in Jakarta, Indonesia, performing the Kala Chakra ceremony. I was holding incense, not cigarettes, but 3 sticks of incense who emitted smoke, incense smoke, who formed the image of Kala Chakra. And Kala Chakra and I were facing each other. So I was looking at Kala Chakra, and Kala Chakra was looking at me. So that was the kind of lineage transmission. In my hands, I was holding incense sticks who emitted incense smoke that formed the image of Kala Chakra right in front of me. And he was looking at me. Have you seen this photo? So this was a proof that Kala Chakra Dharma, that Kala Chakra Buddha indeed appeared in front of Grandmaster Lu. And in meditation too, Grandmaster has met Kala Chakra. During that Kala Chakra ceremony, a miracle happened. There was a patient who was brought out from the hospital with tubes all over his body, and he could not move. And he was brought under the empowerment banners. And as soon as he passed by the empowerment banners, he got up from the So this was during the ceremony in Indonesia. By passing through the empowerment banner, he could get up from the sickbed and walked. So that did happen during the ceremony. Like in Hong Kong, I performed the Guru Padmasambhava ceremony at the stadium there. And a child who was wheelchair bound for 3 years, after receiving empowerment, the empowerment with sprinkling of water, he stood up from his wheelchair. So there were many miracles occurred, and the reporters at the ceremony at that football stadium personally witnessed that a child that was bound to wheelchair for 3 years, and after passing through the water sprinkling of the Guru Padmasambhava's empowerment, he could stand up. So that happened at that Hong Kong ceremony. So there had been many miracles happening. And by passing through or receiving Kalachakra empowerments, you would receive purification, so you can be re-purified. Because Kalachakra was an emanation of Sakyamuni Buddha. He was a transformation body of Sakyamuni Buddha. So the Kalachakra Tantric Dharma was extremely outstanding. And the mudra, the mantra, and the visualization, you should pay attention to it. So did you still enshrine and use the Vajra Kila? Kalachakra's Vajra Kila? It's one of Kalachakra Tantric Dharma. So now let me continue on Lamdre, the Vajra verses. Bless the scepter and the lotus with the characters embedded. Perform the body, speech, and desire. Afterwards, visualize step by step the look and feel of a pure consort, because its benefit is small. Here the bola and her kola unite, then rock and rub in a sweet and tactful manner to extend it. By the fire of desire, let the light drops descend. Its bliss cannot be sustained. To hold and maintain the light drops, slightly tighten the yaksa path, fiercely suck the two middle fingers. The lips and teeth are tightly pressed, both eyes look up. When the bliss is small, caress all over and relax the yaksa path. When the bliss is big and cannot be held anymore, tighten again the yaksa path. The main practice is perform the practice of blessings, etc. Slightly tighten the yaksa's path, fiercely suck the two middle fingers, both eyes look up, hold the light drops this way. Say ha ha ferociously, and the body repeats the illusory wheel, and this can hold the light drops too. To hold and maintain the light drops, slightly tighten the yaksa path, fiercely suck the two middle fingers, the lips and teeth are tightly pressed, both eyes look up. When the bliss is small, caress all over and relax the anus. When the bliss is big and cannot be held anymore, tighten again the anus. The body and mind abide in relaxation and wide openness. This can also hold the light drops. Make the sound of ha ha ferociously. And the other illusory bodily wheels are closing in on the upper chi. By doing this, if the bliss is small, then one should rub and wriggle. When one cannot hold it anymore, then one should hold it. This was meant by it. So I don't know if you understand, because there are a lot of secret codes in here. When the light drops descend, hold it. After holding it, increase it. So according to the Tantric tradition, the secret code cannot be explained. So do you understand? So among our Dharma brothers and Dharma sisters here, he has mastered about the big bliss and small bliss and how to hold it, how to increase it, how to empower his own body or the body of the consort, and how to move and wriggle, and how to harmonize, how to make the bliss big or small, how to do it. Dharma brother Gao Minglu, where is he? Please stand up. You have experienced the big bliss. How many hours could you maintain the great bliss? 24 hours. So his great bliss could stay 24 hours. Now I would like to ask you, do you understand what was said? Yes, most of them. But you have experienced the great bliss. You have experienced the great bliss. So when you were experiencing the great bliss, you observed the light drops that were illuminated going up and down inside your central channel for 24 hours. Is that the case? No. I saw a small white ball at the secret chakra, and every 5 to 6 seconds it would move by itself. That would generate bliss. As big as a ping pong ball, a white ball.
Okay, 好了。其实你讲的跟我讲的是一样的。
Actually, what you said is the same as what I said. A white ping pong ball is the merging of the light drops and inner fire. So that ping pong ball going up and down once, then you would experience great bliss once. So once it moves, then it would generate great bliss. Did it move upward or it stayed there? No, it did not move. It just moved at the secret chakra. Okay, please sit down. Please sit down. So he experienced the great bliss, which is the white light drops stayed or being held at the secret chakra. So when this white light drop just moves slightly inside the central channel, then he would experience the great bliss, right? Yes. So that was called the great bliss. Someone had experienced that. This is rarely experienced. So, as Grandmaster said, Grandmaster is a non-leaking yogi, that the light drops will never be emitted. So when light drops descend to the secret chakra, and every time it moves a little bit inside it, then it would generate great bliss. But the light drops will not leave the body, will never be emitted. If the light drops be emitted, then you're just ordinary mundane being. But if you keep it inside the body,
讲一下加持触跟莲。
That would be blessing the scepter and the lotus. So the scepter is like the Vajra scepter, and the lotus is referring to the lotus blossom. The Vajra scepter represents the male, and the lotus blossom represents the female. And they were blessed by the characters. And then your body, mouth, and breathing have to be uniform or constant. And the desire generated should be equal to your spiritual practice. And then you visualize the look and feel of the pure consort. And because the benefit is small, you let the Pola and Gerpola unite. Actually, Pola is Sanskrit, meaning the Vajra scepter, and Gerpola is the lotus blossom. Then rock and rub in a sweet and tactful manner. Then you use your fire of desire. So at that time you have some passion arousals. You let the light drops descend. So the fire of desire inside your body touch the light drops to let the light drops descend. So if the light drops at this time are at the secret chakra, then there would be an uncontrollable bliss. But you need to hold and maintain the light drops. Then you slightly tighten the anus or the yaksa path, and your mouth would fiercely suck on the two middle fingers, and the lips and the teeth are tightly pressed together. And both eyes look up. Then you hold the light drops. So you tighten the yaksa path fiercely. But then the bliss would become small. Then at this time, when the bliss decreases, then you start over again. You caress all over and relax the anus. When the bliss increases and cannot be held anymore, you tighten the anus again. And by tightening and relaxing the anus, the body and mind abide in relaxation and wide openness. At this moment, you would be able to hold the light drops. And your mouth should make the sound of ha, ha. And the other illusory bodily wills are closing in on the upper chi. But it's best if you exhale all the upper chi. If you cannot exhale it, then you should hold it. By doing this, if the bliss is small, then one should move again. And when one cannot hold it anymore, then one should hold it and keep still. This is what was meant by when the light drops descend, hold it, and after holding it, increase it. So do you understand with my explanations now? You should understand now. 常知上师. Do you understand? Yes, he nodded his head. It's very simple. If you're really blissful, then you tighten your anus and suck on your 2 middle fingers and tighten your lips and teeth to bite on your middle fingers until it's hurt. Then your focus would be on the middle fingers. Then you will forget about the bottom. Then you would hold it. But if you focus on your bottom part with the big bliss, then it would be emitted. So, but both ups looking up and the tip of the tongue touching the palate, then you would be able to hold it. And when the bliss becomes small, then you start moving again. And when the bliss is big, then you tighten. And when the bliss is small, you relax it, and you go back and forth, and then you would be able to do it for a very long time. Like for Grandmaster, there's no need for anything. Why? Why? I don't need any of this. Because I know, I am experienced. When light drops descend, if you don't hold it, then it would be emitted. Then it would go out. And I know how to hold it. Just lift it. And I could do them all in a flash. Then it will not leak at all. So once you have attainments of fruitions, then you would become the non-leaking yogi. So this is to be used in the Kalachakra Dharma practice too. So like what Dharma brother Gao Minglu saw, the light drops were like the ping pong ball. So it's not that he saw it with his eyes, but his heart saw it, and he could feel it with his heart. So it's very simple. If the bliss decreases, then one should rub and wriggle and move. When one cannot hold it anymore, then one should hold it. And the verse said, when the light drops descend, hold it. And after holding it, you increase it again. So the light drops will continually increase and to be as much as the ping pong balls. Okay, that's my explanation for today, and it's about time for dinner. Simu and Grandmaster went to the election place in Taichung and cast their votes. There was an elderly did not want to go home after casting a ballot, and someone asked him, "Why don't you go home after voting?" "No, I want to see from beginning to end until the counting of the votes." "Why?" And the elderly man breathed his cigarette. "Oh, because when I cast my ballot, I throw my ID in it too."
投票就如同密法里面的，把你的名点投出去。
So let me tell you that when you cast the vote, it's like you're letting the light drops out. So when you experience bliss, and it was too much, and you're prostrate, will not be able to hold it in, and therefore the light drops were being cast away, like casting votes. And if it was all of them, that was like this disease. Which is like the stroke by losing all his cement. Even when you were very strong, like Bruce Lee died from it because he did not know how to hold it. So for Tantrika, we hold it in. We hold it all in. If you don't know how to cast your votes, and then you let in everything on your body, you cast them out, like your IDs, your money, your wallets, everything, then you would be dead. That's the simple explanation. So that's the analogy. So, do you think that Bruce Lee was very strong? Yes. But when he cast his votes, he cast everything. So that's why he died from it. It's called something like pinus captivus. So someone was being robbed, a burglar, and then asked, why did you fight him and get your wallet back? And he said, because I was too embarrassed, because in my wallet I had no money, not even $25. So that's a self-confidence. He did not want anybody to know that he didn't have any money in his wallet. So let me tell you, if you don't have attainments in your tantric practice, so are you full of money, like your light drops inside your body forever, or have your light drops been stolen? Then that is quite an embarrassment. So in your practice, you have to hold the light drops. And the women have to hold their menstruation blood. And for the man, you have to, in the Chinese term, is to stop the green dragon for the man and to stop the white tiger for the woman, which means the man never leak his semen or light drops, and the woman never leak her light drops, which is the menstruation blood. And you have to be able to achieve this when you were young, not after menopause, because you don't have any of those after menopause. After the new year, I will be 75. But my body is still filled with light drops. It's not that I am running out of light drops, but my body is full of light drops. After work, I was very tired yesterday. I was about to go to sleep, and a friend made a phone call wanting to have a drink with me, and he was bringing 3 hot girls. After I heard that, I wear my clothes and went there immediately. And it turned out the hot girls were actually sounded like duck heads with spices. So he was cheated. So let me tell you one thing. Tantric practices are different from other practices because tantric practices utilize the desire and transform the big desire to become equal, to become the merging of the light drops and the inner fire, to open the 5 chakras and generate luminosity. So this is the area where it's different from Mahayana practices. So the consort practice or the highest yoga tantra utilizes the biggest desire of human beings, which is the sexual desire, to hold the light drops, to ignite the inner fire, to make the inner fire ascend, the light drops descend, and the water and the fire uniformly to open the 5 chakras to generate light. Only this way is called spiritual practices. Otherwise, you're like casting your votes, and every time you cast a vote, you cast away, then you're just a mundane being. You're not a tantrika, you're not a tantric practitioner. For a tantrika, even if you go to the voting place, you don't cast your vote. So I don't know if you understand or not. So one utilizes his desire, his greatest greed, to transform it to become the greatest spiritual practice. But there are only very few people able to do it successfully. And this is called the highest yoga tantra. Utilizing the greatest desire, and this can be done by a couple. You use your greatest desire to hold your light drops. The more, the better. When the light drops were about to be emitted, you hold it. And then you use caress and rubbing to ignite your fire of desire, to touch the light drops that melt and descend. And then would merge with the fire of desire that were aroused, and when it merged, it would become the ping pong ball. The husband told the wife, "Honey, where are my leather shoes under the bed?" And the wife said, "Oh, the shoes were so old. I threw them away." Hearing that, the husband became very anxious. Where? Even when it's old, when they're old, you can still wear them. And this way we can save money and let me get them back. No need, the wife said. I have taken away all the money inside the shoes. So the light drops is the personal saving of man. So the light drops are the personal savings of man. So never use them, then you always have it. And it would accumulate and become more and more. Once you use your personal savings, it's like you're casting away. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And eventually, you would wither and wilt, even inside your bones. That the beautiful girls carry swords on her waist. So not to behead the sages, it would behead the mundane beings. Inconspicuously, actually, it would dry up your bone and marrows. But if you save them, then they're all yours. And eventually you would be able to rise in space and transform into rainbow light and be born as Sambhogakaya in the Buddha land.
这里谈的是邪术之美啊，在意使人一头雾水。我告诉你，
So this is about the
也是叫你一头雾水。其实我刚刚已经讲，利用大
Academy of Beauty.
来修着火贪火。
So like I said, you use your passionate desire to transform, to ignite the inner fire and to descend the light drops and to merge them and open the 5 chakras, and then you would be able to see your own Buddha nature. The beauty of literary is to ignite between man and woman. And the beauty of woman is that in no complaints and no resentments. And the beauty of man is that they lies like seeing ghosts in the daytime. Oh, Mani Padme Hum.